we continue to pray for the world? You are not praying. Pray. You are seeing the problem of petrol getting around. That is because of the war in Ukraine. If God never knew that it was going to be bad, He would told me last year that this year there will be a war in Europe caused by Russia. So we should pray because the Lord revealed to me that this nation, by name, God revealed this nation, that is the nation Russia, that Russia will cause, he will try to cause the nation France to succumb. He want to cause the nation France, pray for Germany. Russia will try to cause them to succumb. He will try to cause them or force them to dance to his tune or his direction because of what? Energy. Energy is like what? When we talk about energy that's gas, like natural gas, petrol, all these things there. So he told me that there is a situation coming. That as the war is going on, the West will still have some problems from Russia. Russia will still do something terrible that will try to force France to start trying to change his own ideology to follow Russia because of what? Gas. Not that France will have to do it because they love doing it, but because of what? Gas, energy. Yes, because you need to know that Russia is one of the highest countries in the world that supplies natural gas. So because of that, God is telling me He will use His energy power to try to make some nations in Europe to submit to His dictatorship system of government. Once as He's attacking Ukraine, the West, NATO does not like it. So Russia is planning, you want to bring more problems. This means gas will rise again. He will force the law up and strategy so that France in general will be able to challenge. Meaning that he decided to make France go down on his knees and then better accept what Russia is doing. You have France and negotiating for America again. So I'm saying energy problem. Pray for America.
With an uncertain winter on its way, France has been rapidly filling its gas storage facilities. Currently at 90% capacity, the goal is for them to be completely full by November. While still a plentiful stockpile, the situation could change, especially if the next few months are harsher than expected. But if that's the case, it'll be up to businesses and not households to adapt.
If we reduce the consumption by 10%, there will be no restrictions. If the winter is cold and we have problems with the supply of liquefied natural gas, there may be restrictions, but they won't affect households.
In terms of supply, the government has more concerns, as 24 out of the country's 56 nuclear reactors are currently offline, caused by delayed maintenance from the pandemic. Corrosion is also a problem, with several fissures detected in the central circuit system. France, normally a top European electricity exporter, is now an importer, relying on neighbours like Germany for supply. Also, the country's uranium, an essential component to generate electricity, has been entirely imported since the early 2000s, with much of it coming from Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan and Uzbekistan. To help consumers bear the soaring prices, the French government's €65 billion aid package includes €100 handouts, fuel subsidies at the pump and capped energy prices, a stark contrast to some of its neighbouring countries. However, French households fear a hefty bill come January, when the government's energy price cap comes to an end.
Is scheduled to switch off its largest natural gas pipeline running to Germany today, citing annual maintenance. The question is if it will switch it back on. Officials in Germany and across the EU warning utilities and companies to brace for a possible complete stop to gas flows even after the 10-day repair period. They fear Russia will use maintenance as a pretext. Moscow has already reduced flows into Germany in recent weeks, cutting back supply to 40% of normal levels, again, citing repair needs. Now, the Nord Stream stoppage also appears to be pushing the German government to undermine its own sanctions regime against Russia. At Berlin's request, Canada has now temporarily waived its export restrictions on a gas turbine that the company Siemens was repairing at its facilities in Montreal. Delivery and installation of that turbine, which Russia says is critical to restoring gas flows, could force the EU to partially lift its own sanctions on Russia. And that, in turn, has drawn the ire of Ukraine. All right, let's take a further look into this. Karen Pittel leads the IFO Center for Energy, Climate and Resources. She joins me from Munich, and my colleague Andrea Neperi is joining me here in studio. Karen, I first want to start with you.
As for you, son of man, I have made you the watchman over the house of Israel. So hear the words from my mouth and give them warning from me. Ezekiel 33. Revelation chapter 2 verse 29. He who has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says to the churches. Emmanuel, God with us.